Hello, beautiful souls, Raina here. Today I wanted to make a video discussing what chakras are. So a lot of you guys, again, especially for those of you who have been on this path for a while now, might be familiar with what chakras are. But I wanted to really explain the importance of them and how we can really use them and utilize them as a tool for our spiritual development. Once you really understand how these energy systems work, it can really help accelerate your spiritual progress. They're very, very powerful energy centers. So I just wanted to get into a little about how we can, again, use them for our spiritual development. So the word chakra comes from Sanskrit, and it means wheel or disc, and they are essentially just spinning wheels of energy that are located along different areas of the body. And we will get into that in a little, but it's important to just understand, this concept of them being energy centers in the body. It's not this really big complicated thing. And once you really understand the basis of so much of spirituality as a whole, so much of our existence, we really begin to understand how everything truly is just energy as a whole. This is what so many spiritual texts point to. So that's essentially what chakras are. They're just energy centers in the body, and each one correspond to different emotions and physical symptoms and things like that. So again, chakras are such a foundational concept within the whole dharmic healing system as a whole, which is why I wanted to introduce what they are. So as I mentioned, they are located along the spine, the first one starting at the base and the last one reaching the crown of the head. There are 7 main chakras, and each one corresponds to different emotions, physical symptoms, moods, reproductive organs. It really corresponds to so many different aspects of our overall health and vitality. There are many ways to balance the chakras and bring them into harmony. So within dharmic healing, we use modalities like aromatherapy, which is my personal favorite because I am a certified aromatherapist. So there are specific, unique oils for each chakra. There are bija mantras that we use to help balance them. There are asanas, so different yoga asanas within hatha yoga to, again, help balance the specific energy center that you want to work on. Each chakra is associated with a specific element. There are even musical notes and Hindu deities that we use to help balance each chakra. Each chakra rules over a specific part of the mind and even has its own shadow emotion. So as you can tell right off the bat, these energy centers are such a fascinating and intriguing concept. And I don't know about you, but just knowing that I have these really powerful energy centers in my body that really contribute to my overall physical and emotional health makes me really want to be very proactive in taking charge to learn how to balance them, to learn how to work with them for my overall spiritual development. So that's kind of what I wanted to share with you all today. Again, if you're interested, I do dharmic healing work. I also have a lot of information over on my blog. And you can go ahead and grab that freebie that I have if you want to stay in touch with me and get on my email list. I share a lot more about dharmic healing sciences over there. So there are 7 main chakras. And again, they all run along the spine. And the first one sits at the base of the spine. The first one is known as the root chakra, or in Sanskrit, the Muladhara chakra. And interestingly enough, this base chakra is often seen as the one that's associated with a lot of sexuality, but really that's actually the second one, which we'll get into. So the first one governs our sense of survival, of security. It really is our foundational one. And One of the things that my own teachers and mentors kind of told me was that so often when new seekers learn about the energy system, they are so interested in learning how to balance their upper chakras, because they really want to kind of be blasted off into the ethers and be immediately connected to the divine. And while that's all great and of course really important, eventually it's really at the same time very foundational to understand how to balance these kind of lower base chakras, because it's almost as if you were being airlifted immediately right, to base camp is the way that I kind of describe it when you want to immediately work on balancing these higher energy centers. So it's really important to first work on balancing these foundational energy centers before we work our way up to things like the third eye and the crown. So again, the first chakra is associated with foundational kind of aspects of our overall health. So like financial health, feeling grounded, safe, secure, things like that. And then as I mentioned, they all have their own physical kind of benefits as well. So it's important to just understand that as a whole. But again, this video is just a bit of an overview. So for example, in terms of physical imbalances with the root chakra, it can lead to issues such as problems with the lower back, feet, things like that, because that's where this energy center is located. So usually the physical imbalances are related to where the chakra actually lies. So again, just important to keep that in mind. It rules over so many aspects of our overall health, not just our emotional health. So getting into the second chakra, we have the Svadhisthana, also known as the sacral chakra. So this chakra governs feelings of creativity and sensuality and our overall sense of pleasure. So when we are feeling like we are not able to tap into those kind of emotions and states of being, usually this relates to an imbalance in the second chakra. So again, this chakra, like all the other ones, has its own ways to balance it. So we use, as I mentioned, asanas, aromatherapy, specific deity work, musical notes, even color therapy. So with this one, it would be orange, things like that. And then we have working our way up in the abdominal region, my personal favorite, and one that I actually had issues with for years and years and still occasionally sometimes struggle with. It's a very powerful energy center. It really kind of always gives me feelings of like solar energy, the sun just like residing in that region. And this is going to be the solar plexus chakra in Manipura. So this chakra, again, from an emotional aspect, represents our drive, our will, our self-esteem, things like that. So if we're ever feeling like really apathetic in life, maybe just like really slow moving or even depressed, not having, again, any like big visions or dreams, or just like overall not having a lot of drive and will, it also really is a big one for confidence. So forever lacking in confidence, lacking in self-esteem, this is the energy center that has major blockages. And I find this one particularly interesting because this energy center always reminds me of the kind of like gut-brain connection that we hear so often in kind of like even just like the Western holistic, in the kind of specific holistic space and like integrative medicine of understanding the importance of the gut-brain connection. Well, when you really think about what the Manipura, what a lot of the emotions associated with the solar plexus, it makes a lot of sense, because when we feel fear and worry, we literally feel it like in the gut region. That's why a lot of the times when people express feeling these kind of emotions, they might have a lot of like GI issues. Well, that's where that energy center is located, whenever we're feeling these kind of imbalances. So super interesting to think about, and how, this very ancient holistic system of medicine that stems from India, and and the ties that it has to Ayurveda. I made that video on Ayurveda. Really, it's kind of like coming about in like the modern, again, integrative aspect of medicine that we're seeing today. So super interesting. I just kind of wanted to share that. And moving our way up, we reach the heart chakra. So the Anahata, again, a very powerful, beautiful energy center, all associated with the heart, healing the heart. And of course, keeping them all open and balanced is super important. But I think especially for practitioners of energy work and those of us on the spiritual path, it's just so important to live from the heart and understand how to keep it open and flowing, because blockages can really seriously lead to so many emotional imbalances. Because that's the other thing too with the chakras, is that they are all connected. One imbalance can even like begin to lead to imbalances within the others. So keeping them all open and balanced is very important. So that's the heart chakra. Again, many ways to balance it. It has its own unique set of healing modalities like the other ones do. And then moving our way up, we have the throat chakra, also known as the Vishuddha. And of course, as you can imagine, this energy center governs our sense of communication and speech, and really feeling like we can truly and authentically express ourselves well. So any imbalances in this energy center can lead to feelings of, insecurity in our speech, maybe not feeling confident enough to express ourselves and really express our honest truth. So working on this can be just as simple as actually speaking your truth. There's a Sanskrit term, Satnam, truth is my identity. And I love that. And it reminds me so much of what the throat chakra really is all about. So we have a lot of healing remedies for that as well. It's something that I've had to work on myself, and I do sometimes see in certain clients. And some people just naturally have a very strong and powerful throat chakra. It's something that, if you've been cultivating and developing for a long time, it might be easier for you. But for some other people, maybe it doesn't come as easily. So again, very powerful energy center that really is connected to the rest. So we want to keep it open and balanced just as much as we want to keep the other ones. So moving our way up, we have the third eye, also known as the Anya. This one, again, as I mentioned previously, along with the crown, is so intriguing to a lot of like early new practitioners, because it is a very mystical energy center. So it really helps us understand so much of our intuition and insight and inner vision. And I think that's why so many people feel so drawn to it. So working with it, again, can bring about so much kind of spiritual, kind of almost power sometimes, really. It's a really, really, really strong energy center. Again, there are really unique ways to balance this energy center as well. One of my favorite meditations for this energy center, and I can make a video if you guys are interested, is actually a candle gazing meditation. It's so incredibly powerful for really awakening the third eye. So the universal mantra Om actually helps balance this energy center. And just again, reciting that bija mantra can really help us tune into that energy center. So lastly, we have the Sahasrara, the crown chakra. And this energy center is really just our ultimate connection to the divine, to higher streams of consciousness, and to all that is, all that exists. It really helps us feel very connected to oneness, and really helps us realize that we truly are spiritual beings having a human experience, and not the other way around. And just some other important notes on the chakra. So as you may have noticed me saying chakras instead of chakra, this is the actual proper pronunciation of chakra, so it's important to actually make a conscious effort to pronounce it properly and not just say chakra, like it would be in SH. It's a chakra. Sometimes, I slip up myself. I know it's easy to say, like, especially for those of us living in the West, to say chakra, but it's really pronounced chakra. So just kind of wanted to throw that in there. And then also, I actually wanted to kind of share another fact, which is that even though the 7 main ones are kind of like the big energy centers that are the easiest to work on and the most commonly understood, there are actually other minor chakras in the body. Again, kind of similar to the nadis and marmas. There are just so many energy centers in the body. So within the chakra system specifically, there are about 21 minor chakras located in the body that you can work on as well if you are interested in that. So very, very fascinating stuff. If you have any questions, let me know. Again, I do Dharmic healing work. I share a lot of information on the Dharmic sciences and so much of spirituality as a whole and how we can live a holistic, heart-centered life over on my blog. If you have any suggestions or, again, any questions for me, let me know. I would be happy to help. And otherwise, I hope you all have a beautiful day and we will talk soon. Bye.